Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another Minecraft video, and in this one we're going to take a look at this guy right here, the digital pet. Now let's be honest, the virtual pet concept has been around for donkey's years. I mean, I remember way back in the early days of my life, trying my best to keep my Tamagotchi alive with varying degrees of success, let's just say. And then of course Nintendogs came along and it was pretty much the same story. I just seem to struggle with that sort of thing. So if you pop into the Minecraft world, we've got things like the Temple of Notch, we've got Ethos Wilson project, and even I dabbled in this a tiny bit with my Mumbo Is God minigame that I created for my 100,000 subscriber special. But obviously a lot of time has passed since these periods, and a few things have changed. We've got a few new redstone components, a few new techniques have been discovered, and I thought I'd try my best to revisit the project, and I have to say, really quite happy with what I've come up with. So when you use this thing, there are just three things that are probably worth noticing. We've got the face in the center, we've got the outer sections, and we've got this hopper down at the bottom here. Now I would say the face in the center is relatively self-explanatory. If it looks happy, then our virtual pet is happy. If it looks unhappy, unfortunately our virtual pet is sad, and we can sort it out by using these bars over here. You see we've got some item frames in the center. Inside those item frames we've got items, and these redstone lamps right here are gradually ticking their way down to 0. And if it does reach 0, then unfortunately this guy is going to go from all cheery to all sad and angry. Now the way that we fix that is by throwing an item into this hopper right here. So as you can see, our redstone supplies are looking a little bit on the low side. Obviously that would make me unhappy, so it makes this thing unhappy. And all we have to do is throw an item in here, and as you can see, one of the redstone lamps will turn on, and this guy will stay happy for longer. Obviously, if the virtual pet gets unhappy, you just have to replace all of the supplies that have completely run out. So currently, our stone slab supplies, they're not looking so hot right now. We have completely turned off all of the redstone lamps, and this guy is looking very unhappy indeed. So all we have to do is chuck in a stone slab into the system. It will be sorted out by the sorter. It will make its way up into the redstone lamps, and as you can see, one of them has now turned on, and this guy is looking much more pleased. I mean, he's looking a little bit more cheery, but it is probably a good idea to throw in a few extras just to increase the length of time between getting unhappy again, because you don't want to be traveling back and forth between this thing every 5 minutes or so. So now that I've shown you how everything functions, it's probably about time that I showed you how to build it. So there will be a world download down in the description for anyone who doesn't really fancy building it or just wants to take a look around the redstone, but I'm going to try my best to explain everything while I construct it. I will warn you, it does involve quite a few redstone resources, and it's a relatively large scale redstone project, but it should be a ton of fun. So you want to get things started with a 7x19 area. Yes, a 7x19 area. Absolutely ridiculous, I know, but you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks up like this, and then place blocks going all the way across your entire space, just 19 blocks going all the way across there. And that has made its way to the end. That's good. I wasn't expecting that to be so perfect. Then you want to go 1 block up like this and place in all of those going right the way across. And next up, you want to find the central 5 blocks. And the way that we're going to do that is by placing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that is going to be where your face is going to be. So you want to go 5 by 5 and just place all of those redstone lamps in just like that. And now we're going to start chucking in all of our meters, which are going to be going up the outside. So the first one is going to be going here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you want to place blocks in between that, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you want to do the same thing on the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then blocks just like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you can fill in all of that space right there with all of the blocks, just like I've done on this side. So this is what you should end up with. It looks pretty cool, but now we're going to start chucking in all of the blocks for the face. You want to go around the back of the display panel, you want to place a redstone block right here, and a redstone block right there, and that will give you your eyes, because of course those aren't going to move, so you don't have to worry about those too much. And then you want to place redstone blocks going right the way across like this, which will give you the center of the smile or the unhappy face, depending on where your meters are at. So now we're going to wire up the blocks that are going to be powering, so we need to wire up these redstone lamps and these redstone lamps down at the bottom. And the way that we're going to do that is by placing a line of blocks across like this, a block up like that, a block up like that, and a block right there with a repeater there, and a repeater on this side as well. Redstone running across like this, redstone right there, and a redstone torch in the center. So that will be the happy face. It's looking good. And then underneath that, we're going to place a block down here, and then a redstone torch on top of that one, and blocks running around like this into this block right here, and that is going to have redstone on all of these blocks. And unfortunately this is going to turn it into a sad face, which is a bit of a shame, but you know, that's the way that we're going to be starting. Next you want to go right into the center of the smiley face, and you want to go 6 blocks back from this block right here. So just place all of those in just like that. So that is 6 blocks. Then you can remove all of these and place all of the hoppers running right the way across and chuck a hopper right in there. And of course that's where you're going to be throwing in all of your items. Next up, you just want to go down like this and place a line of blocks going right the way across there, and you want to run 4 hoppers into the sides of all of those blocks just like that. And then underneath these blocks, you just want to place 2 blocks running across like this and 2 blocks running across like that. Then you can remove all of those, and on the other side, you just want to sort of mismatch it and go 2 blocks running across like that and 2 blocks running across just like that. So these are going to be your sorting system item filters. Then you want to chuck in all of the chests like this and all of the chests in between those blocks right there, and then you can go down underneath there and throw in all of the hoppers. So you want a hopper running into this chest, you want 1 hopper running into this chest over here, 1 hopper running into this chest, and 1 hopper running into this chest. Then you can take a comparator output from all of these hoppers, and we're going to run our redstone out and down all of the lines. To finish up the filters, you just want to place blocks out the back like this, redstone dust on top of both of those. Then you want to place a block down here with a repeater running into a block with a redstone torch that is going to be powering that hopper right there. And you want to do the same thing on the other side, so you just want to place a block with a repeater and then a block right there and a redstone torch. Now you may struggle to place in those repeaters, just sort of break the blocks and do whatever you have to do. We're going to have to place the redstone there and the block, and then our repeater running into the block with the redstone torch. And the final one, which is probably going to be the most tricky one, which is the block right there, the redstone and then the block with the repeater, and then the block, and then the redstone torch on the back of that block right there. I'm sure you've all seen that before. I've used these tons of times on my channel, but these are the item filters. Anyway, running out from the item filters, you just want to place a repeater set to 3 ticks on all of these, and this is going to be running out into our pulse extenders, which is then going to be running up into our item meters. This next step may seem a little bit strange, but we're actually going to be going to the top of the build because we're going to finish up the item meters. We're going to do all of the wiring that is going to do these displays. So you want to place blocks going right the way across like this and a block out like that, creating a sort of strange L shape. Then you want to place a comparator, redstone going right the way across the top there, 2 blocks like this, a dropper in this direction, and a dropper in this direction, and you want to place 3 stacks of items inside this dropper right here. Then you want to repeat the same thing from the one underneath, but I'm quickly going to show you how to do the one on the other side as well. So you want to place blocks like this, you want to place a block out like that, a comparator with your redstone, and once again it is the 2 blocks, the droppers, and the dropper, and then you want to place the items in this dropper right here. So once again, the 3 stacks. So always place the items in the outside dropper, and the comparator should be on the inside of your build just like this. Then you want to do that on this level right here on both sides. It is now time for some proper redstone action. So you want to go to the bottom right hand corner of your build, and we're going to be wiring up this circuit right here. So you want to place a block up like this, and then you want to create a little area like that, redstone dust on this side with comparators running out like this, a block right there, some redstone there, and comparators facing in this direction to create a sort of 2x2 area of comparators. That is then going to run out into this redstone torch, place a block on top of that torch with a redstone torch like this, a block up like that, with a block right here, and a block right here, with a comparator facing in this direction, and redstone running round like that. And you want to set the comparator into subtract mode. Now this is going to be how we're going to be powering these droppers right here. Next, you want to place a block up like this, a block up just like that, redstone dust on top of both of those, and you want to place a block like that and chuck down an upside down slab, and then another upside down slab right there with redstone running into the side of that block. So what this means is when an item goes through the item filter and makes its way through this hopper, it will power this comparator, which will then power this pulse extender, which will then power this redstone clock, which will run up into this dropper, sending items from this dropper into this dropper right here. Right, it is now time to do the same redstone wiring on the other side. It is a tiny bit different due to the way that these designs are staggered, but it really is quite similar. So first off, you want to create this area right here, running into this block, redstone dust right there, comparators facing in this direction, running into a block with redstone dust on the side, and then comparators running back like that. That's your pulse extender done. Then you want to place a redstone torch, block up like this, redstone torch right there, a 2x2 area out like this with a comparator facing in this direction, redstone dust running round like that, chuck the comparator into subtract mode. Then you want to place a block up like this, a block right there, redstone dust on top of both of those, and you want to place a block, upside down slab, and then an upside down slab right there, and that will connect up all of the redstone. So this right here, pulse extender running into the redstone clock, which will send the items from this dropper into this dropper, which will increase the happiness of our chappy. So those are the first 2 circuits done. Now we have to do the 2 circuits out the back, and it's a relatively similar process, but we have to do some slightly more complicated wiring. So we want to create the same sort of area right here with our redstone like that. Then you want to place in comparators facing in this direction, comparators facing in this direction, your block right there with redstone dust on that block right there. Then you want to place a redstone torch on the side of that block, a block on top of that torch, redstone torch once again, block, torch, and then a block with another torch, and then a block like this, and then you've got your redstone on the top. And now we are going to create our redstone clock up at the top here. So you want to place a comparator right there, a block up like this, a block right there, and a block down here with redstone running around like that, and that shouldn't canoodle with any of this redstone right here. Then we are going to place 2 blocks like this, an upside down slab right there, and a block on top of this comparator, and then run the redstone up into this dropper, and that will send the items from this dropper into this dropper, which is exactly what we're hoping for. This side is pretty much exactly the same, it just involves placing a block here, and then we repeat the whole thing. So create the area once again, and then your redstone. You should be getting pretty good at this, by the way. Your comparators right there, your comparators on this side, and then your block with your redstone right there. Redstone torch, a block on the top of that one, redstone torch, and then create your little torch tower going up to the top. Make sure that this torch is unpowered, block right there, redstone right there, and then your comparator. That's going up into these blocks there, comparator, and then your redstone running down like that. And then we're going to create our little area running across here with our redstone on top, and then our block right there with our redstone there. And make sure that your comparator is in subtract mode, and this comparator over here has to be in subtract mode as well, because otherwise it will not work as a redstone clock. Extremely important. So if you take a look at our 2 circuits right here, you can see that about 90% of the redstone wiring is done. We've got a tiny bit more green circuitry to do, and the entire pink circuit, which is relatively big. I mean, that's pretty much the whole control unit, but other than that, we're almost all finished, which I'm sure is going to make a lot of you very happy indeed. But anyway, next up, we are going to create the unhappiness detector. So you want to place your comparators running out from both of these droppers right here. Then we are going to run this comparator out into a block, redstone torch on the side of that one with a block out like this with redstone dust on top of it. Then you want to place a sticky piston facing downwards with a redstone block on its face right there, and you should see that it's not going to power any of this redstone. If it does power this redstone, then you've got yourself a bit of an issue. Then you want to place a block right here, redstone dust on top of that one, a redstone torch right there, and then we're going to place a blocks going right the way across, all the way across our entire thing up into this block right here. And we're actually going to be leaving that for the next couple seconds because we're just going to run it all the way across to this side, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. So you want to go to your inside comparator, place a comparator right there, a block right like this, a comparator on that side once again, block up like that, redstone torch, a block across like this with redstone dust on top of it, your sticky piston facing downwards with the redstone block on its face. Then you want to place a block right there, redstone dust, redstone torch, and then your block here. And then you want to run redstone all the way across like this, right the way over to the other side. And this is an AND gate which detects if any of them are unhappy. To wire that into your smiley face is a very, very simple process indeed. Just take out this redstone, place this block right here, redstone torch on the side of that block, and then next to this block right here, you just want to place some redstone dust right there. That will power our redstone torch if this redstone torch was powered, and that will make him unhappy or happy. So this is what decides whether or not it displays a happy face or an unhappy face. So it's a really important redstone circuit, and it's actually incredibly simple. But now it is time to move on from all of that circuitry. We have got this big bit to do right here. This is the control unit, and it decides how often it is going to make our machine unhappier. First up, we have got to create the powering systems. So you want to place a block right here, you want to place a block there, and then a block out like this. You want to place a comparator and then a repeater running into that block. It can't be redstone because that will run into the side of that comparator, so it has to be a repeater. That'll be powering that dropper right there. Then you want to place a dropper facing upwards, a hopper running back down into it to create a monostable circuit, then chuck any old item inside that dropper right there. Then you want to place a block right here, a block down underneath like this, a block right there with a comparator running into that block. And you want to place a dropper right here and a hopper running into the side of that dropper to create another monostable circuit, which is going to be powering our bottom one down at the bottom there. Once again, chuck any old item inside that dropper, and that is the powering circuit done. So now you want to repeat the same thing on the other side. If you can remember how to do it, congratulations. If not, I'm quickly going to show you. So it's once again this sort of shape right here, comparator and then your repeater. Then you want your dropper facing upwards and your hopper running back down into it with any old item inside the dropper. And then the block underneath with the block right here, the block right there, the comparator, and then your dropper and your hopper, monostable circuit. You guys know the drill by now. Then any old item inside the dropper. So you see how lovely our redstone circuitry is looking right now, all nice and symmetrical. I personally quite like it. Now we're going to completely ruin that by building an unsymmetrical circuit, which I know is going to stress out a few of you, but unfortunately there's no two ways around it because we've got to create a hopper clock. So you want to place your blocks up like this with your redstone right there, then you want to place 4 blocks running across like that, block up like that, and a block down there with a comparator running into that block and that block, redstone dust right there. Then you want to place your 2 hoppers running into one another just like this. and your 2 sticky pistons facing in these directions here with your redstone block in between them. Then you want to place a slab right above this redstone torch. Obviously it can't be a solid block because then it will be powered by that torch. And you want to place a block out like this, a block up like that, 2 blocks on either side like this with a block right there. And we're going to place a repeater, some redstone dust right there, and then we're going to place a block down here and a block down here with repeaters running into both sets of monostable circuits, and you should hear 1 ticking noise, and that will send 1 item from this dropper into this dropper, at least in theory. Just the final finishing touches now. First off, you want to go underneath your hoppers and remove both of those blocks, because otherwise you get something rather interesting happening with the face, but most importantly, your hopper timer also won't work, which is very bad news. So remove both of those, and now you want to head down to your item filters, and we're going to start filling these things up. Now, one thing that I should probably explain is that this first hopper right here is going to correspond to this item filter here, so this item meter. Then this second hopper is going to correspond to that one, the third one is going to correspond to this one, and the fourth one is going to correspond to this meter right here. So it goes like this, then it goes like that, then it goes like that, and then it goes like that. So if you want your first item meter to be diamonds, like I have in my design over here, what you have to do is head over to this hopper over here. You want to grab half a stack, and you want to place all of the items going across. They should stay inside the hopper, then chuck the rest of them in there, and you should see they filter through into the chest, and they will stop at 18. And also, you will see that the happiness level has increased for this meter, which means that that is actually working perfectly, which is wonderful. The items are being sent from that dropper into that dropper. Fantastic. So if you want to repeat what I've done with my own design, then of course what you have to do is the diamonds like that, then you have to do the redstone like that, the chicken like that, and then the stone slabs like that in all of your hoppers there, and you should end up with something that looks a little bit like this. Now, if you're anything like me, you will start off with an unhappy bot. Okay, I want to start off with an unhappy virtual pet that I then need to make happy, but if you want to do quite the opposite, all you have to do is take the items from this dropper, remove all of them, and place your 3 stacks into that dropper right there, and that will give you max level happiness on every single one of your attributes. So it will give you max level happiness in the top left, the bottom left, the top right, and then the bottom right if you do that in all of them. Or alternatively, you could send a few of the items across, or maybe just like have like half and halves, whatever you really fancy. But if this dropper is full, then that means you're going to be at max level happiness. If this dropper is full, then that means that you're going to be bottom level, completely unhappy. The final thing left to do is fill in this top hopper timer right here. Now, the more items you put in this thing, the easier it's going to be, because there's going to be more time between the happiness decreasing. The fewer items you put in, the faster the happiness is going to decrease, and the more items you're going to have to chuck inside your virtual pet. Now, you can do some testing with this thing depending on how hard you want it to be, but I personally quite like the 3/4 of a stack. So if you chuck 3/4 of a stack into the hopper timer, then that means that your happiness is going to decrease relatively quickly, but not so fast that it actually becomes an annoyance. But as I say, you can test this and mess around and see what you actually prefer. But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I've got time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please sure to hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'll see you later.